Welcome dear students. Today in this lecture we are going to see the topic called beta fatty acid oxidation or simply fatty acid oxidation. There are different types of fatty acid oxidation like alpha, omega, beta, but we are going to see specifically beta fatty acid oxidation as it is very common type of fatty acid oxidation and mostly usable fatty acid oxidation method. Beta oxidation, it may be defined as the oxidation of fatty acids on the beta carbon atom. Okay, simply if you define the beta fatty acid oxidation, it is the oxidation of fatty acid on the or at the beta position of the carbon atom of that fatty acid chain. Okay, where is beta position, where is alpha position, that I will show you within a just moment. Okay, but just keep this definition in mind. There is oxidation of fatty acid on the beta carbon atom, and this results in the sequential removal of two carbon atom in the form of acetyl CoA. Means what happened in this fatty acid oxidation, there is successive removal of two carbon unit. Okay, successive unit of two carbon unit in the form of acetyl CoA. Okay, so that is the thing. Beta oxidation of fatty acid, the breakdown of fatty acid to acetyl CoA, as I told just now. This process, it occurs in the mitochondria. It is strictly aerobic process, and after production of acetyl CoA, it is entered into the Krebs cycle. It occurs in the tissues like liver, kidney and heart. Okay, it specifically takes place in the mitochondria, in the matrix of the mitochondria, and in the tissues like liver, kidney and heart. It doesn't occur in the brain. There are different types of fatty acid oxidation like beta oxidation of fatty acid, which takes place in the mitochondria, alpha oxidation of fatty acid, it takes place in the endoplasmic reticulum or peroxisomes, and then omega oxidation of fatty acids. If we will see the stages or steps of the fatty acid, it includes three stages. Okay, mainly three stages are involved. First is activation of fatty acid in the cytosol. If you have seen the synthesis of fatty acid lecture, we have discussed in that we require the acetyl CoA as the active form of the fatty acid plus NADPH for the synthesis of fatty acid. So here also there is activation of fatty acid in the form of acetyl CoA. Okay, when we are saying activation of fatty acid, active form of the fatty acid is called as the acetyl CoA. So activation of fatty acid in the cytosol. Second process is transport of activated fatty acid into the mitochondria. Why? Because we are activating that fatty acid into acetyl CoA in the cytosol, and the process of breakdown, the process of fatty acid oxidation is nothing but it is the breakdown of fatty acid. Okay, and the process of this breakdown, the process of this oxidation, it takes place in the mitochondria. Okay, तो हमारा acetyl CoA ये cytosol में होगा और synthesis matrix में होगा. It is not possible. Okay, so there is need to transport that acetyl CoA from cytosol to the mitochondria. Okay, so second process is transportation, and it is carried out by the specific pathway called as Carnitine shuttle system. Okay, or Carnitine shuttle pathway. Third is beta oxidation proper in the mitochondrial matrix. In the third stage, actually oxidation steps are being carried out, or oxidation steps are run out. Okay, so first we will see each step one by one in detail. Let's begin. First is fatty acid activation. Okay, this is the fatty acid. Okay, this is the fatty acid. We know that fatty acid, it is a long hydrocarbon chain. Okay, so this is the fatty acid. It is been converted into its active form called as acetyl CoA or acyl CoA, and this is two-step reaction. Okay, here intermediate product is acyl adenylate. So here fatty acid, it is converted into intermediate product called as acyl adenylate with the help of enzyme called as thiokinase, and there is involvement of energy in the form of ATP. Okay, ATP is converted into pyrophosphate. So this is your acyl adenylate. This acyl adenylate is converted into acyl CoA. There is addition of CoH. Okay, so this is the structure of acyl CoA, which is the first stage of beta fatty acid oxidation. Okay, why? Because here we want the activation of or active form of the fatty acid. Okay, here we want the active form of the fatty acid, and we know that active form of the fatty acid is acetyl CoA or acyl CoA. Okay, so this is two-step reaction which is catalyzed by the enzyme called as thiokinase with the involvement of ATP, and even cofactor is required, magnesium. So fatty acid is converted into acyl adenylate. Acyl adenylate is further converted into acetyl CoA with the addition of the CoH. So this is your first stage. Okay, let's see the second stage. Now your acetyl CoA is ready. Okay, acetyl CoA अब आपका ready हो चुका है. कहाँ ready हुआ है? In the cytosol. Now it is necessary to transport this acetyl CoA from cytosol to our target site, that is mitochondria. Okay, as this acetyl CoA, it is impermeable to the inner mitochondrial membrane. ठीक है, acetyl CoA ये impermeable है, acetyl CoA या फिर fatty acid, it is impermeable to the inner mitochondrial membrane. Okay, so to transport that, a specialized system has been developed that is called as carnitine carrier system, or we can say carnitine shuttle. What is carnitine? Carnitine, it is a quaternary ammonium compound which is important in metabolism of fatty acid. Okay, so that is the carnitine. So with the help of this carnitine shuttle system, there is transportation of acetyl CoA. Okay, how this transportation takes place? It is carried out in 4 steps. Okay, so first of all we will see the, okay, in the first stage, acyl group of acyl CoA is transferred to carnitine. जो हमने acetyl CoA synthesize किया था, उसका acyl group ये transfer होगा carnitine के पास. Okay, फिर क्या form होगा? There will be formation of acetyl carnitine or acyl carnitine, and this process is synthesized by the enzyme called as carnitine acyl transferase. Okay, so this acyl carnitine and this enzyme is present on the outer surface of inner mitochondrial membrane. This acyl carnitine is further transported across the membrane to mitochondrial matrix by a specific carrier protein. Okay, and then it converts acetyl carnitine to acetyl CoA, and the carnitine which is released, it is returned back to the cytosol. डायग्रामेटिकली समझते हैं, अगर थियोरिटिकली नहीं समझ आया होगा डायग्रामेटिकली सेकेंड स्टेज समझते हैं. ओके, अब फर्स्ट स्टेज में हमारा एसिटिल कोए हमें मिल चुका है, अब उसे ट्रांसपोर्ट करना है. कैसे ट्रांसपोर्ट करेंगे? we'll see the diagram. Okay, so this is acetyl CoA. Okay, this acetyl CoA, it is transported via carnitine, or it is transported through the carnitine transport system or carnitine shuttle system. Okay, so this acyl group acyl group of acetyl CoA is transported to the carnitine. Okay, acyl group of acetyl CoA is transported to the carnitine, which leads to the formation of acyl carnitine. Okay, acyl ग्रुप ट्रांसफर हुआ है कार्निटाइन के पास एंड इट विल बी लीड टू द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ असाइल कार्निटाइन. और एसिटिल कोए तो साइटोसोल में था. ओके, सो इट इज बीन ट्रांसपोर्टेड टू दिस माइटोकॉन्ड्रियल मैट्रिक्स. द फॉर्म्ड एसिटिल कार्निटाइन इज ट्रांसपोर्टेड through this carrier protein. Okay, specialized carrier protein. Okay, through this inner mitochondrial membrane into the माइटोकॉन्ड्रियल मैट्रिक्स. ठीक है, साइटोसोल से एसिटिल कार्निटाइन आ चुका है आपका मैट्रिक्स में थ्रू दिस कैरियर प्रोटीन, एंड दिस एसिटिल कार्निटाइन इट गेट कन्वर्टेड इनटू कार्निटाइन. Okay, it get converted into the carnitine and acetyl CoA. It get converted into carnitine and acetyl CoA. This acetyl CoA अब ये मैट्रिक्स में पहुंच चुका है. देन इट इज यूज्ड फॉर आवर थर्ड स्टेज. अब ये जो कार्निटाइन है इसका हम क्या करेंगे? इट इज रिटर्न बैक टू द साइटोसोल थ्रू दिस कैरियर प्रोटीन. ओके, ये है आपकी सेकेंड स्टेज ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्टेशन. ओके, एसिटिल कोए फ्रॉम साइटोसोल, it attaches with the carnitine and forms the acyl carnitine. Then with the help of carrier protein it is transported into the matrix. This acyl carnitine get converted into carnitine and acyl coa. Acyl coa is used for the degradation process and carnitine is returned back to the cytosol. This was your second stage. Now third stage. Your third stage is actually the degradation process. पहले दो स्टेज भी बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट स्टेज थे क्योंकि उनके बिना डिग्रेडेशन पॉसिबल नहीं है. थर्ड स्टेज में एक्चुअली आपके स्टेप्स इंक्लूडेड है. 4 स्टेप्स है: ऑक्सीडेशन, हाइड्रेशन, ऑक्सीडेशन एंड देन लास्ट इज क्लीवेज और थायोलाइटिक क्लीवेज. ऑक्सीडेशन परफॉर्म किया जाता है बाय द एंजाइम एफेडी-लिंक्ड डिहाइड्रोजिनेस. हाइड्रेशन परफॉर्म किया जाता है बाय द एंजाइम हाइड्रेटेस. ऑक्सीडेशन परफॉर्म किया जाता है बाय द एंजाइम NAD लिंक्ड डिहाइड्रोजिनेस. यहाँ पर FAD था. इन द थर्ड स्टेप देर इज NAD एंड इन द फोर्थ स्टेप क्लीवेज इज बीन डन बाय द एंजाइम कॉल्ड एज थायोलाइस. ओके, थायोलिस. सो दिस आर द 4 स्टेप्स एंड द 4 एंजाइम्स. सपोज हमने सिंथेसिस के लेक्चर में फैटी एसिड कॉल्ड एज पाल्मिटिक एसिड का सिंथेसिस देखा था, उससे ही ब्रेक डाउन करेंगे. ओके, सो दिस इज द पाल्मिटिक एसिड और वी कैन से पाल्मिटिल कोए विच इज 16 कार्बन यूनिट. ओके, सो दिस इज द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ पाल्मिटिल कोए. नाउ हमने देखा था कि दिस इज द बीटा फैटी एसिड ऑक्सीडेशन. व्हाई इट इज कॉल्ड एज बीटा फैटी एसिड ऑक्सीडेशन? बिकॉज the cleavage, the breakdown of chain, it takes place between alpha and beta position. Hence it is known as, there is actually cleavage at the beta position. Therefore it is known as beta fatty acid oxidation. Okay, so that has been there. From the carboxyl position, from the COOH position, there is numbering. Okay, so this is 1. Okay, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4 and so on. Okay, इस तरीके से नंबरिंग होती है 1 2 3 4. एंड अल्फा से, अल्फा मीन्स दिस इज योर अल्फा, दिस इज योर बीटा, दिस इज योर गैमा एंड सो ऑन. ठीक है, पोजीशन देखिए 1 यहाँ से स्टार्ट हुआ है फ्रॉम दी C डबल बॉन्ड O, लेकिन अल्फा आपका यहाँ से स्टार्ट हुआ है, अल्फा बीटा. सो लाइक दैट नंबरिंग यू हैव टू गिव. Okay, so yes, this is your palmitic acid and this is the numbering. Next, how actually the reaction is been carried out, that we will see. Your first step is oxidation. You have this palmitic acid. Okay, ये आपका palmitic acid है अब यहीं आगे डिग्रेड हम करेंगे. सो योर फर्स्ट स्टेप इज द ऑक्सीडेशन ऑफ acyl CoA by an enzyme called as acyl CoA dehydrogenase to give transenol CoA. Okay, so that is your first step. Unsaturated, why? Because here there is presence of double bond. तो ये है आपका palmityl CoA which is 16 carbon unit. This is alpha position, beta position. Okay, and if you will give the numbering 1 2 3, then it is first, second, third, fourth and so on. So this is your acyl group. Okay, so acyl group is been transferred, oxidation हो रहा है, and here there is use of FAD. FAD is converted into FADH2. You can see RCH2. Here there is you can say dehydrogenase process. Okay, यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा है? Dehydrogenase हो रहा है, means what? Hydrogen atom is been released. Okay, from beta position one hydrogen and from alpha position one hydrogen is been removed. So the structure will be somewhat like this, and there will be formation of double bond. So here palmityl CoA is been converted into transenol CoA. Okay, just you have to keep in mind, in the first stage there is the oxidation of acyl CoA with the help of enzyme called as acyl CoA dehydrogenase and formation of enoyl CoA. Okay, this is your first reaction. पहले स्टेप में क्या हुआ है? सिर्फ हाइड्रोजन मॉलिक्यूल रिमूव हुआ है. ओके, और हाइड्रोजन एटम इज बीन रिलीज्ड. इन द सेकेंड रिएक्शन देयर इज हाइड्रेशन. हाइड्रेशन किसका? डबल बॉन्ड का. ओके, एज यू से हाइड्रेशन मीन्स देयर इज एडिशन ऑफ वाटर. सी जनरली वी से दैट drink lot of water. Okay, why we must drink lot of water? Just to carry out the normal metabolic processes. Okay, to carry out the normal breakdown. So when you will drink a lot amount of water, the metabolic process will be easy. Okay, so that is the clear explanation why we must drink water a lot. Okay, so that has been there. Yes. So here we have got transenol CoA from the first reaction, from the first step. This transenol CoA is converted into beta hydroxy acyl CoA with the help of enzyme called as enoyl CoA hydratase addition of water. So here there is addition of water. Okay, here there is addition of water. Here there will be H and here there will be OH. Okay, OH and H is been added and here CH2. Okay, the structure is very simple. In the first step there is removal of hydrogen. In the second step there is removal of water and formation of hydroxy acyl CoA. This hydroxy acyl CoA in the third reaction is further oxidized into the keto acyl CoA. There is involvement of C double bond O, C double bond O, that is your keto group. Okay, so here what happened? NAD is been reduced. Okay, NAD plus NADH. So here you can see there is dehydrogenase, means removal of water molecule, and the structure will be like this. There is removal of OH and H. Okay, it leads to the formation of keto group, that is beta keto acyl CoA. Okay, so that has been there. Next, the fourth reaction is cleavage of the two carbon fragments by splitting the bond between alpha and beta carbon. As I told, at the beta position there will be cleavage. Okay, at the beta position there will be cleavage which leads to the formation of acyl CoA and acetyl CoA. Okay, so this is palmitic acid which is 16 carbon. अब हमें जो चेन मिली है इट इज़ 14 कार्बन. इसका मतलब क्या है? 16 कार्बन में से 2 कार्बन ये लूज हुए. मैंने आपको पहले ही बताया था कि इन दिस देर इज सक्सेसिव रिमूवल ऑफ एसिटिल CoA और देर इज सक्सेसिव रिमूवल ऑफ 2 कार्बन यूनिट इन द फॉर्म ऑफ एसिटिल CoA. देखिए एसिटिल CoA के स्ट्रक्चर में 2 कार्बन यूनिट है, ये रिलीज हो चुके हैं. ओके, मतलब 16 में से 2 कार्बन ये रिलीज हो चुके हैं. हमारे पास अभी तक से 14 फैटी एसिड की चेन बाकी है, इसे क्लीव करना होगा. ओके, तो इसे हम क्लीव करेंगे, तब तक क्लीव करेंगे जब तक हमें 2 कार्बन यूनिट का फैटी एसिड नहीं मिलता. ओके, so we will cleave that much time. Means how much time we will cleave? We will cleave 7 times. Okay, 7 times. It is been 7 cycles carry out होते हैं actually. Okay, 7 cycles of beta oxidation is been carried out, which leads to the formation of, or which will leads to the separation of fatty acid, or ultimately there will be degradation of fatty acid. सो दिस इज वॉट रिपीटेशन ऑफ यूनिट्स. ओके, 14 हमें मिला था, तो ये 7 बार रिपीट होगी, दो रिमूव होगी. ओके, 14, देन 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, एंड अल्टीमेटली यू विल गेट योर 2 शॉर्ट चेन फैटी एसिड. ओके, और हर स्टेप में आपका एसिटिल कोए रिमूव होगा एज अ, मतलब 2 कार्बन यूनिट रिलीज हो रहे हैं, इसका मतलब एसिटिल कोए रिलीज हो रहा है. ओके, इट इज़ वेरी सिंपल. दिस इज द simplest pathway from the entire chapter of biosynthesis and degradation. So yes, हम एक बार रिकॉल करते हैं हमने क्या स्टडी किया. पाल्मिटिल कोए विच इज 16 कार्बन, इट इज बीन oxidized by the enzyme called as acyl CoA dehydrogenase, and there is FADH2 energy has been utilized. Okay, which is converted into trans enoyl CoA, means there is addition of there is removal of hydrogen atom. Okay, hydrogen atom is been removed in the first step. In the second step, water molecule is been added. Okay, at the second step, water molecule is been added. Trans enoyl CoA is converted into beta hydroxy acyl CoA. There is addition of OH and H at the beta position. Okay, this is alpha and this is beta. Don't measure from this carboxyl group, count from this position. Okay, alpha and here beta. In the next stage, beta hydroxy acyl CoA is converted into keto acyl CoA. Okay, keto acyl CoA means here there is dehydrogenase, removal of water molecule. Beta keto acyl CoA is then breakdown at the beta position, and this is breakdown in the form of acetyl CoA. और बाकी की चेन ऐसे ही होती है, और फिर से यही पाथवे फिर से कैरी आउट होता है, 7 टाइम्स रिपीट होता है. ओके, सो दैट इज द ओवरव्यू अबाउट द डिग्रेडेशन और बीटा फैटी एसिड ऑक्सीडेशन. सो रिलीज ऑफ एसिटिल कोए लीव्स एन असाइल कोए मॉलिक्यूल शॉर्टन बाय 2 कार्बन्स. दो यूनिट्स ये बाहर रिलीज होते हैं. ओके, and this acyl CoA molecule is the substrate for the next round. यही जो CoA release होता है, okay, this acyl CoA जो release होता है, it is reused for the second cycle. Okay, reused होता है for the second cycle. हर बार पहली और second stage करना ज़रूरी नहीं है. Starting with an acyl CoA dehydrogenase. Repetition continues until all the carbon of the original fatty acyl CoA are converted to the acetyl CoA. In the last round, a 4 carbon acyl CoA, butyryl CoA is cleaved to 2 acetyl CoA. Means from the long chain of fatty acid, we get very short means 2 carbon unit fatty acid. Okay, so that is the overall wave of beta fatty acid oxidation. I hope it might be clear to you. Thank you.